Hi, morning.
Okay, I think we can start right away because we're 2 hours behind schedule.
Why are you laughing now? What's funny?
Finally.
Finally, we're there.
Yeah.
Technology is on our side this time, so let's start. I'm going to hand over now to Ruben, who is the moderator and on the team of the World Fish Migration Foundation Netherlands. So he would be moderating all the sessions, and we hope that we can wrap this up in good time. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Wani. Thank you, everybody out there, for staying patient and staying with us. This has been a very, very rough start, but I'm confident that we can still turn it into a very educational and interesting event. I'm very glad to be moderating this session, and I'm very grateful to Wani and all of the participants that are here today for organizing it and making it happen. We have a few changes to the program and to the schedule, but I would just like to introduce to you our first speaker of today, which is Ngozi, and she is actually from. Hold on, let me just see. Yeah, she's from the Institute for Oceanography and Marine Research, Nigeria. And her talk is titled Roles of Indigenous Communities in Saving the Delta. And please, Ngozi, if you could just start sharing your screen. If you have not already done that, I think you just have. Perfect. I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to turn my camera off. Ngozi, if you can have your screen open, have your camera open, unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. I'm looking forward to your talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Thank you to all of you for waiting so patiently. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Oh no. Okay. My name, as Ruben said, is Ngozi Ogugwa, and I'm a researcher with Nigerian Institute for Oceanography and Marine Research here in Lagos. My talk is on the role of indigenous communities in saving the Delta. Indigenous people, who are they? We are meant to believe that indigenous populations are communities that live within or attached to geographically distinct traditional habitats or ancestral territories. And in Nigeria, we can also take indigenous communities to be ethnic groups. Ethnic groups or people that live in a community can be called, that have lived in the community for a long time. So we are talking about focusing on Niger Delta. So the states in Niger Delta are there are 5 core states in Niger Delta: Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, and River State. And within these 5 states, you have over 48 different staying there. They all have their own unique traditions, their unique cultures, and all of them stay there, and they all bring in their own bit into the conservation paradigm. So this is the map of Niger Delta. You can see that it consists of coastal sand plain, from coastal sand plain to beach and barrier islands. And what is well known is the mangrove forest. But we also have the Niger flood zone and the western coastal plain. So you can see that there are a lot of what do you call, geographical areas here. So you can, most of them you see, they are into agriculture, they're into fishing, they're into farming and other things. So what are the resources of the region? It's part of the Guinean Forest Hotspot 1. It harbors many locally and globally endangered species, and it has approximately 60 to 80% of all plant and animal species found in Nigeria. 60 to 80%. So it is very rich in biodiversity. Then the Delta mangrove forests are on the tentative list of potential UNESCO World Heritage Sites. There are distinct species of fish found there, so many of them, and it may be of interest to note that 4 sea turtles visit the Delta to breed. A lot of research has been going on that, and my colleagues in my office are also involved in it. So this is true. So what's the role of the indigenous? What role does indigenous knowledge play in saving the Delta? Indigenous and local knowledge is critical to protecting the planet's biodiversity and overall ecosystem. Governments and scientists need to come together and with communities and amplify their voices. They need to include them in scientific assessment. Most of the times, we researchers, when we go to carry out some researches, we don't include the indigenous communities. And if we start including them now, you'll see that your research will be enhanced. There are things that you thought you knew, that you know that you didn't even know that is not possible. Like when I was going through the research for this, I found out that a species of raffia palm, you could use the seeds to stun fish. There are so many things knowledge there that people don't know, that if you now bring in these people into the research, things will work out better. You don't know if maybe the cure for COVID-19 may be found in the region. Who knows? Cure for cancer, nobody knows. So we need to create partnerships with indigenous local communities to share the knowledge and skills that they have. So how can the indigenous communities save the Niger Delta? We can encourage the use of indigenous knowledge and practices to conserve the environment. They can form strategic partnerships to work on conservation programs. And I've seen it. I'll share some of the examples of what they have done, and they've been able to achieve so much. They can participate in conservation efforts like beach cleanup, ecotourism. Ecotourism is key. Ecotourism is what is keeping the economy of South Africa, the economy of Kenya. Why can Niger Delta not key into this? Niger Delta has a lot of biodiversity. They have beautiful beaches, the mangrove forests, the creeks, River None that is well known worldwide because of JP Clark. May he so rest in peace. And so many beautiful places that the community can harness and make good use of it. Then they can form pressure groups. The pressure groups will now work on with the oil companies that are polluting the environment. Make sure that when the oil companies pollute the environment, they clean it up. Then, of course, they will have to avoid harmful environmental practices like oil bunkering, illegal oil refinery, use of poisons when fishing. So then they will have to work with policymakers to ensure representation of indigenous communities in wetland management, enhance capacity of indigenous people and communities to improve participatory governance, which is key. Because if they have their people in governance, they'll be able to say, make their needs known, the government will know what the interventions they need. The government will not come and just create interventions without consulting them. Then they will enhance and ensure, working with policymakers will ensure that flow of benefits from the management will go to the indigenous peoples and communities. And of course, key is gender mainstreaming of Niger Delta conservation to ensure participation of women, because women are key. If women are carried along, believe you me, the projects will be a success. They have to be involved in decision making and in governance, as I said before. Then be able to adopt alternative sustainable livelihood, because sometimes they have off season and all that. So they have to get, if they can't fish, they can do other stuff. Then key, document and share and celebrate indigenous knowledge. If we can document our indigenous knowledge and share it, we will go a long way. Nigeria will excel. I'm telling you, because there are so many things that people know. When you talk to the indigenous people, they have a lot of knowledge, but the problem is that they don't document it. So we have to encourage them to document. Then these are examples of projects led by indigenous communities. This is an NGO called Green Code Nigeria. It's led by a guy called Eden. So he works with the communities to regenerate mangrove forests in Cross River State. Then Akasa Nature Watch, they are into sea turtle advocacy and awareness creation. They go into the communities and talk to them about sea turtles, and they've been able to convince the community, and the communities have bought into the program. So the communities are now leading the program. So whenever they are now the people going in to teach their children, teach the fishermen that it's not good to kill sea turtles. And because of it now, if you go to Akasa, you see a lot of sea turtles now. And hopefully, if things go well, that place may be designated a sea turtle garden. So this one is Orychromys niloticus culture at African Regional Culture Center, ARAC. ARAC is an institute affiliated to my institute, where we will just carry out research and work with indigenous communities. And the research done there is a demand-driven research. So the indigenous communities come and tell us what they want us to work on, and we do the work there. Then this one is oyster cages on racks at our station again in Bugum. Then this was a oyster harvest ceremony in Brass local government. And this one is, in Nigeria, especially in Niger Delta, this is a delicacy. You walk, after walking, you have to come back home and eat. And all these things are seafood caught from the Niger Delta. So this is called seafood fisherman soup. Every ethnic group in the region has a way that they make this food. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. That was fantastic. Thank you, Ngozi, for this very, very interesting talk. And this was very empowering to hear. Is there any questions that need to be answered right away? Otherwise, we would just keep going.
Yes. There's a question for Ngozi. Can she come online?
Yeah, hello.
Okay, yes. The first question says, you mentioned that communities must share their knowledge. How can you encourage indigenous people to share their knowledge? That's the first question. The second one says, you mentioned gender mainstreaming. What roles do women have in the community? Should I take it again?
No, I've heard you. I can see the questions here.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Communities will be encouraged to share their knowledge. When you like the communities we work with, we go to the communities and we have stakeholder meetings with them. Sometimes we do have, apart from the stakeholders meeting, we have one-on-one meetings with them because we've already built up that rapport. And we tell them, please, this knowledge that you have, can you tell us about it? So when we are talking, we take down notes. And when we are taking down notes, they are like, why are you taking this note? We say, because what you have, the knowledge you have is great. And for them is a common knowledge. They don't think it's anything big, but for you as a researcher, you know it's big. So what we do now is we talk to them. We are telling the people we work to, all the researchers we work with now, we're telling them, please, before you start any project whatsoever, get the community people involved. That's one way to start it. Get the community people involved. And once they get involved, talk to them, share, let them air their mind about it, whatever, and share their knowledge with you. Gathering the knowledge is not something that it's easy. We need to make a deliberate effort to go from community to community, and all these things you have to like have funds set aside for it. If we can get funds set aside for it, why not? We would like to get the knowledge and make it readily available. Then the second question is on gender mainstreaming. Gender mainstreaming is whenever you're setting up a project, a program, you have to call everybody, the men, the women, the boys, girls, young men and young women, and get them together. And when you're sharing the roles, you know what a person can do in that community. What obtains in one community is not the same as in the other community. Like where I come from, the women in my place, we have an abattoir in my place. The people that sell cows in my place are women. The people that are butchers are women, which is not the same as in Lagos. In Lagos, the people that kill the cows are men, and the people that sell the meat are men. So you have to be sensitive to the culture of the place. You don't just go and bring your project and just push it down there, shove it down their throats. No, you have to be sensitive. So that's what we mean by gender mainstreaming. Thank you.
Thank you.